Welcome back to Unlocking Your Creative Curiosity with Tammy Collins, where we explore, experiment, evolve, express, and evoke emotion through our creativity and our art. Here's a sneak peek at what's in today's video. Okay, today is just about creative play. We're just going to have some fun. We're just going to do some intuitive doodling. I have a whole pile of colors that have made their way on my desk that I just haven't brought myself to put away yet. I guess they're speaking to me and they want me to do something. And I'm really feeling inspired to just create today. And so I'm just going to have some fun. So I'm starting with something I like to do a lot, and that is to take a Tombow marker and then take some water to it and turn it into a watercolor. I really love doing this technique. What I'm doing right now is just getting some color on there. I'm not really thinking about it other than I know these are the three colors I'm going to start with. I'm getting them onto the paper, I'm spreading them around, and that's all I'm going to do here. This is part one, or phase one, or level one of this creative play. If you're returning, thanks for coming back, and I hope you enjoy watching my videos. You know, I'm new to doing this and it's a little uncomfortable, and you can probably hear that sometimes, but I'm not letting that stop me from my desire to share my creativity. I do this process a lot. I find that just going in with a clear head and just almost just playing with materials really opens up my creative space and really helps me to um, get in touch with the things I like, the things that work, the things I want to explore more. And it's just a process that I love to do. It took me a really long time to be able to just do this, even more so to be able to share it, because I had such expectations about what I was supposed to be creating or what I wasn't supposed to be creating. And I really let that stop me for many years from doing things. And I don't know if it's maturity or just experience or what it is, but I've really moved past that. And I think it has to do with a lot of personal and self growth. And not everybody's going to like what I do, and that's okay too. And there'll be a lot of people that will like it. The videos will find those that really want to see it and find value in it, and that's all that matters. This video is going to be a little bit longer than my normal one, and I tried to pause and skip when I could in the editing just to cut down on the time a little bit. My goal was to try to show you each technique that I did so that you understood what I was doing in case you wanted to play with that same idea. Sometimes these doodles just keep going and I don't know how much time they're going to take. I typically allocate about an hour and a half to do my creative time. This one has taken probably closer to 2 to 2.5 hours of time. And so I'm just going to start with just sort of letting the pen go where it wants to go. This is what I call intuitive doodling. I am a little bit inspired by the river below. I live over a river, and so I do feel that influence a lot of times, and you can see there that's kind of what that almost looks like. And now I'm just adding in some random intuitive doodles. I know I'm going to say intuitive 100 times, but it really took me a long time to grasp that concept and have confidence in my skill and abilities and to just trust what I was led to do. And so for me, that's where I call that intuitive. But what I want you to see here is how almost random this feels. Anyone can do this. And just playing with this concept is really powerful. So now I'm going to come back and I'm going to round off all the edges, which is a process by a doctor. I can never remember his name, but I will link it in the description. And he sort of created a process that is about type of doodling, and he does do this sort of rounding the corners. I don't know if I didn't really deep dive too much into his process. I don't know all about it. I just know that this rounding of the corners is something distinctive from his process that I love, and I use a lot in mine. But you can learn a lot more about him and his process. And you know, I'm gonna get you that name right now while we're doing this, because I feel that it's important. He is, you know, maybe I'm not going to. I don't know what he calls his process. Let me just try to find it. Oh, neurographic art is what I believe he calls it. Let me just, okay, because he's, sorry about that. Here we go. Where is he? Boy, it's not easy to find. You know, I'm really kind of butchering that. I apologize. I will put the information in there and you can look at it. I have heard this called mindful doodling, intuitive doodling, neurographic therapy, neurographic art therapy. There's a lot of terms for it. There is a specific process that has been developed and created. I'm trying to find his name here, and I'm Pavel Piskarev. I'm sure I butchered that. Terribly sorry. But he is the person that created this specific Neurographica. It's a psychology of creative, from the Psychology of Creative Institute. And he has a very specific process that he uses. It's worth checking it out. It's really a really great thing. It's inspired me and helped me sort of break through some barriers I had, and I love to incorporate parts of it. And so this rounding of the corners is a big part of that process. And I'll put the link for you in the description. And so you'll see me, I'll skip around here. I'm just trying to show you the technique. The technique is to not leave any sharp corners. This is very meditative. It's very therapeutic. It really calms and opens the mind. And for me, it really allows creativity to start to flow in. So this would be layer 2 for me. So you see I've finished that part, and now I'm going to come back in and just see what else is calling to me. So this would be layer 3, where I come in and I add some more details that I'm trying not to really overthink, that I'm just sort of adding in here. So right now I'm sort of trying to balance the weight of that, what I just put in the other corner there. It almost reminds me of topography. If you've ever looked at a map and you see sort of the topography and elevation lines, it's kind of what that reminds me of. And so I'm just sort of doing it on the other corner there to balance the weight a little bit. So I'm creating two pieces at one time here. The idea is that they are not identical, but they are congruent a little bit. So there's similarities and everything sort of flows together so they could be framed and hung on the wall as a pair. So this is still layer 3. I'm still adding in some details, um, just looking for where I want to put more interest, liking the concept or the inspiration of the topography and the river outside, and I'm kind of on a mountain, so that is really speaking to me today. I don't know if subconsciously that's what's coming through. I, I do strongly believe that sometimes when you create, there doesn't have to be any specific reason or direction, or it could just be that you just want to play, and I think that's really important to understand. I think people get caught up in, there's an exact reason why you're drawing that line here, and they're, overthinking every detail. And for me, I want to stop the overthinking. I'm an overthinker by by natural. I do that all the time, and I'm trying to get lost and get into flow, and that's what I'm working on here. Is just being present in the moment, focus solely on the piece, and letting it just speak to me. Have you ever done that? Have you ever just sort of sat down and just played with materials and just let it tell you what it wants you to do, instead of trying to uh, determine exactly what's going to happen? I'd love to hear about that. Do you experiment with intuitive doodling? I think for me, I'm working on a lot of experimentation with combining that with mark making, and so I've just been playing with a lot of that. And after I get this in here and we move along, you'll see I begin to sort of think more about mark making, incorporating that into here. So right now I'm just going to sort of darken up some of the lines. Some of them are, you know, a little on the light side, so that's what I did. And I came back and I added in sort of scribbly, almost like electricity style lines in the what looks like sort of the roadway or the waterway, or that path. And now I'm just adding in another set of details for some visual interest. I want the viewer's eyes to get kind of lost in the piece, looking at all the different details. So you have to let me know too if this video is a little too long. I try to keep them around, 30 minutes. This one's going to tap out about 45 minutes. But, I, I just wanted to record this process, and it is what it is. So there'll be a lot of quiet time because I don't want to overtalk. But I think it's important for me to add in some of the thought process of what I was doing, or some instruction around what I was doing. I would consider this like layer 4. It's a second round of detail. Layer 3 is detail, but layer 4 is like a second round of more detail. I basically just added some lines in there and then rounded off the corners. So I jumped ahead here a little bit, but what I basically just did was use some colors and come in and color in some of the random shapes, and I just left a bit of a border with around them because I'm going to come back here with white, and I'll frame them out. So I just used a couple of coordinating Posca markers, you see, and I'm just showing you here what I did. This one I'm using the navy blue. I just kind of replicated the shape within itself, and now I'm filling that in. And I did that with the sort of the darker turquoise, the lighter turquoise, the gray, and this blue. And so I would consider this like layer 5. So I'm just trying to decide if I'm finished with this color or not. I'm also going to be putting into the description. Of course, I'm getting better at including all of the materials that I use over into the descriptions, and I'll get better and better with that as we go along. I'm also going to include the opportunity for you to sign up and stay in touch with me. I'm going to be sending some great things via email, and if you want to be on that list, I will be including that link in the description, and it's called Your Creativity Matters. I'm going to be doing some great challenges and things that you may want to get involved in, and some of those will be free, and they'll just be for fun and done virtually, and it's a great way to get inspired for your creativity. So right now I'm just adding some white Posca around the sort of the loose orbs shapes that I did, the color blocking that I put in. And I'm starting to lose count. I think this is like layer 6 now. But I'm sharing my creativity because I think it helps other people build courage, explore things they maybe didn't think of or wouldn't have tried. And if I can just get you to spend 30 minutes a day exploring your creativity, then that makes me very happy. I think that exploring your creativity is so important. And when I say creativity, it doesn't necessarily have to be art related. Your creativity can come out in many different forms, which I would argue is a form of art, but you might love cooking, you might love gardening, you might love writing, you might love organizing and cleaning, and all of those things are to me a form of art. If it's something you're passionate about and you're expressing your just pure love for something and creating whatever it is, it is your creativity and it matters and it's important. I think people hear the word creativity and they think only of art. And yes, art is a big part of being creative, but so are many other things. Okay, so I kind of jumped ahead and I put all the white Posca around the shapes, and now I want to really enhance sort of the watercolor effect of this. It's a raspberry color, and so I'm just coming in and adding a little bit more detail to it, and I'm realizing that I actually kind of like the outline spidering out a little bit, so I'll add a little bit onto that as well, just in a few areas. The color of this raspberry really gets lost in the video. It is what you would think of a very raspberry color. And now I'm just taking a finer line, a Posca marker, and I'm enhancing the outline of the orbs or loose shapes. Now, if you'll notice here, just outside of that shape, there appears to be some gaps. So I will come back with the Tombow and kind of clean that up. I don't know that I want those there. So I didn't want to bore you with all of that, but I went around all of the white outlines and the inside and the outside, and I cleaned up the edges with the Tombow like I had mentioned. So you can see they're much more cleaner and crisp now. Now I'm just adding some interest. They're just sort of almost like a cheetah spot, or just a little random jagged, not jagged, but very they feel like cheetah spots to me. So I guess, is this layer 8 now, or the 8th? So now I'm just adding in some detail. These are kind of like cobblestone shapes that I'm putting in here. It adds a lot of interest and depth. I have a few things that I will come back and do to this, but this is the beginning of adding in some interest and depth. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to see new videos as they come out. My goal is to record my creative process as much as possible. I've got a lot of exciting things coming up. We're going to be turning I have two smaller tiny houses here. I'm going to be turning one of them into my studio, which I'm super excited about. Right now I'm in a tiny house and it's really, really tiny. You know, we live in 300 square feet, and officially it's not a tiny house because it's not movable and not on wheels, but some would call it a cabin. Tiny, it's a very tiny, it's 300 square feet. It's built like a real house. It was a custom build, so we just love it. But we have more than one of them, and we've decided that we're going to turn one of them into my studio. So I'm super excited about that. I'll be documenting that whole process and sharing that, all of the ups and downs. So now I'm just adding in some more white outline. This is something I really love, is that sort of positive and negative, or that high contrast with the white and the dark. I do that a lot. You'll see that a lot in my work. And you can kind of see how that cobblestone effect is really starting to create some depth there. So I'm thinking, I'm rubbing my fingers, I'm thinking, what's next? I feel like this other spot also needs some of this cobblestone. I'm using a watercolor paper here. This is just it's from Hobby Lobby. It's a Master's Touch. It's an 18-inch by 12-inch, 140-pound, 300 GSM paper. It's cold pressed surface. You know, it's not my favorite, but it's okay. It's not smooth. You know, when I think of cold press, I think of smooth, but maybe I have that backwards. You know what? I might have that backwards. It's slightly textured, or you know, it has that look and feel of texture. And so now I'm adding in some detail with the white gel pen. I added in some just lines around a couple of the gray spots, and now I'm adding in that same cobblestone effect in some of the blue ones. Here I'm trying to sort of pull that part forward with the lighter detail. Be sure to tell me in the comments what your favorite part about this piece is. Um, what your favorite detail was, or what about it sort of caught your eye, or that moment where you sort of went, oh wow. Let me know. I'd love to hear the feedback. Let me know if you sort of do your own version of this. That's kind of the beauty of the intuitive doodling, is that I find it almost impossible to replicate. Um, they can be similar, but you know, I've actually tried to repeat and I can't do it. So I don't know. I have explored with turning these into coloring pages, something I'm kind of playing around with. If you're interested in having one of those, let me know. I'd be curious to get some feedback on that. I'm not sure how I feel about it at this point. There are some benefits to it, and you know, it works sometimes and other times it doesn't work, but I'd be curious. If you'd love to have it, you're welcome to get one of those. Just let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to make a coloring page of this for you and get it over to you. So I have officially lost track of the layers. I think we could be on like 11. Not sure. Just using the Posca to outline uh, the the thin black Posca, which that is really a great pen. It is, here it is. It is a PC1MR is what it's called. It's a PC1MR. And it's, I don't know, it's got a great tip. It's like a super big gel pen or something. It's a really great tip for outlining. It really creates a fantastic consistency in the flow of the paint. And so now I'm just sort of darkening it up. I think those lines need to be a little bit darker. And actually now I'm thinking of looking at this now, I'd love to add another detail. I wonder if I should go back and do that now, but that would be a bit of a challenge. Hmm. So I'm adding in silver metallic, which I actually quickly regret. Um, I wish I would have used a different color, mainly because it just doesn't show up well in the video. It is very metallic in person, and it looks nice, but I don't know that it will translate very well on here, but that's okay. So I'm just adding in that detail. I love to add the metallic in all of my pieces in some way. We're getting very lucky. We don't have any chicken chaos or dog chaos. Now watch, I'm saying that and something's going to happen. Hopefully we'll get it in without the without that happening before we finish the video. It's very peaceful here today. It's very serene and magical like here. I'm hoping next year to be able to offer sort of workshop stays where we'll spend 3 or 4 days working on with particular medium or a particular style, like an intuitive doodle workshop or a watercolor workshop or um, a texture workshop, or I don't know what those are yet, but I'm beginning the process of thinking about that. If you're interested in that or you have some ideas or something you'd love to see, please let me know. I'd love to get some feedback on that so that I can help build something that's interesting to people. And you would come and stay and you'd work in my studio. I have other cabins here on the property. Okay. So I'm just coming back now and just cleaning up some of the lines that I wanted to sort of bleed, but I want them also crisp. So I'm just coming back over them a little bit. I want them to kind of pop out a little. And I'm going to be moving now into the final layers where we're just going to be adding in some other details. And so there'll be a little bit of skipping around here because I'll show you the technique and move on, or um, so I added in some sort of squiggly lines or loose lines inside the raspberry orbs, if you will. And now I'm just going to put a little bit of white in what I had referred to as the cheetah spots earlier. I just love how they pop out when you do that. It adds excitement to me and interest. It makes it feel fun and a little wild. Now I'm just adding in some white dots, really to just help pull that part forward. I have an idea of some shading that I'm going to do, so I want this to sort of work with that shading. Um, if I haven't mentioned, be sure to check out the description. I have all the links to other social accounts that if you would like to follow or see more about me and what I do, you're welcome to do that. Um, if you would like to receive information from me, um, you know, all sorts of things that I'm going to be doing, free coloring pages, free creative challenges, and things of that nature, be sure to uh, use the Your Creativity Matters link and send me your email. Don't worry, I'm not going to bombard you with emails. So right now I'm just circling those white dots with a gel pen. So I have used a white gel pen and a black gel pen in this piece. I have used Posca markers of all different sizes and colors. normal colors, black and white and metallic. And I have used Tombow markers, and I have used water to move the Tombow marker coloring around. And I'm also going to be using a charcoal pencil here, which is something I use quite a bit for other things, but I'm trying it in here for shading. Typically I will use a light gray Tombow for shading, but this time I wanted to try a charcoal pencil to see what that would look like. And so now I'm just putting in my what I call the cobblestone uh, effect. I'm just adding in dots. And so on the one side I'm going to add in white dots, and on the other side I'm going to add in black dots. Again, thinking about shading that I have coming up, and I'm wondering how that will work in the final piece. I don't know, do you prefer me to skip ahead a lot, or do you like actually watching it completely through? So like right now, I'm just putting in the white dots in this sort of cobblestone effect, and I'm letting it play through in, watching the whole thing. But I could do a little bit more skipping through and just sort of show you the technique, skip through when I finish that. I think there's a fine balance in there. You'll have to let me know what you enjoy, because I'm making these for you and what you would like to see, and how you want to see my process. And I don't know that. I know sometimes when I watch videos, I want to see it all the way through, and other times I don't. I want to just sort of skip through and sort of see what the process evolves to. Okay, so here I am using this charcoal for shading that I wanted to experiment with. Um, I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to use a Q-tip to sort of blend it out and get a gradient going from sort of light to darker. I do decide to come back in with a Tombow and add to it. I just felt it wasn't quite enough. And so you can see that sort of, I'm running that along what I originally was inspired as the river. If you remember from the beginning, I sort of initially put in sort of you could call it a road, but for me it was sort of a river. And so now I'm sort of coming in along that and just accentuating it and um, giving it some depth with this charcoal pencil. And right now I'm just using a Q-tip to sort of blend that out. And so you can see the cobblestone right there where I'm working underneath. I had put black dots in to sort of think about in the future, oh, I'm going to be shading here, and I wanted those black dots to help pull that part of the piece down a little bit. I'm liking it. I'm almost thinking now that I'm looking at this, oh, I wish I would have done it on another part as well. Um, Interesting. So see, now I want to go along this other river that I created, which wasn't originally part of my plan. So we'll see how this comes out. But I'm liking the effect. I think really what it is I'd like to play with this more and put more of a focus on it, or use it in a piece with the intention of like, let's explore this more. See, I don't know that that side has enough that I'm looking at. I'm almost thinking I need to go back. So I am giving this a crisp black edge line. I just sort of sit the Posca marker on the edge of the tape and run it down. I know it looks like I can draw a super straight line, but there is that slight edge of the Posca tape that's helping me kind of cheat a little bit and do that. So I'm excited to see what these look like. So right now I'm in that process where I'm sort of stuck in creation and it's hard for me to see what's happening. So I'm anxious to kind of get the tape off and get them separated so I can get the pictures and then I can really see what it is that I've created. I need to sort of break the flow process and step out and look at it. Excuse me. But let me know what you think of it. Let me know what your favorite part was. Be sure to like and subscribe. I didn't have any problems with tape ripping this time, which is fantastic. So I'll be sure to put these here so you can get a good look at them when they're completed and sort of separated side by side. I hope you enjoyed this creative exploration with Tammy Collins, where we explore, experiment, evolve, express, and evoke emotion through our creativity. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Don't be shy. Tell me in the comments what you like, what you didn't like, what other things you would love to see me do.